Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing an updated version of the solo Mera dungeon video. And that's because there's some new things that I learned with Mera, and there's some new things like with the dungeon bosses themselves and with dungeons themselves. So like how the people block, and some bosses actually block more than others and stuff like that. So I'm going to be showcasing all the new changes and new things that I learned in this updated version. Also, there's some things I left out in the other video that I should explain in this video. So the first thing that I left out in the other video is specifically for the Coliseum map. So for the Coliseum map, like if you don't move when you a new wave starts and you have flame flight activated, you get teleported like high enough to not get hit, but like it's low enough for like Kurabachi users to hit you. So I would recommend you have max Logia bar first. If you don't have max Logia bar, that's fine. I'm going to explain a workaround real quick, but I would highly recommend getting max Logia bar first, as for any map, but specifically for the Coliseum map. But if you don't have max Logia bar, you can firefly the Kurabachi users, and then you can hold the flame pillar. In the later waves, I'm going to show why that's useful, but for the earlier waves, when they don't have Haki on and you don't have max Logia bar, you can just hold the flame pillar. Next is bosses. Now the Pika Boss is glitched for some reason, so when he does his ult, he stays in the air. So I'm going to show how that benefits you later. And the Hie Boss, he actually got harder. The Hie Boss blocks a lot more than before, like way more than before. Like out of all three bosses, the Hie Boss blocks the most. So I'm going to show how to get around that. Alright, so for wave 21 to 25, you're actually going to hold flame pillar. The reason for that is the Kurabachi users now have Haki, so you're going to get slammed down to the ground much earlier than before. So yes, you're going to hold flame pillar. Now before you do that, I recommend using fireflies if the Kurabachi user spawns between 10 to 15 enemies. You can look up at the top, it says NPCs left. If it says between 10 and 15 and there's a Kurabachi user, I recommend using fireflies below you. And that's because I'm going to put a clip on the screen now. I tried to use flame pillar, but it got cancelled because I got hit and I got slammed down to the ground and then I died. So yes, I recommend using fireflies first if they spawn early. If not, then you can just hold flame pillar and you should be good. For the grass map though, you don't have to do that. You can just, from wave 21 to 25, you can just do the normal sit still. You don't have to worry about flame pillar, none of that. You can just use Hiken like normal. Also, when you're using flame pillar, slightly look down, because if you're looking straight, it won't hit them. So you have to slightly angle yourself and look down in order for the flame pillar to hit. Alright, so for the Hie Boss, what I do is I use my ultimate and then I use flame flight, and then when it's doing their ult, I use fireflies, and then when they're doing ice bird after that, I use flame pillar because they're stuck in one place and they can't get blasted away. And then if that doesn't finish them off, I just use Hiken. For the Mera Boss, what I do is I use my ult and then I block because they're going to use fireflies and fire fist. Then I use my fireflies and fire fist, and then I use flame flight, keep my distance in case they use flame pillar, and then flame pillar them when they're doing their ult. There's actually two ways to do the Pika Boss. So the first way is a safer way, which is I use my ult, wait for it to do a mirror kick, I block its light kick, and then I stay close enough so that it can use its light sword, and then I Geppo away and use flame flight, wait for its ultimate to finish, I use fireflies while it's ulting, and then when it's done ulting, I get under and then I use flame pillar. Alright, so the second way to do the Pika Boss is use your ult, you wait for the mirror kick, but when it's doing its light kick, you run in and use a flame pillar. If they get blasted away, just use fireflies. Alright, now it's time for the double bosses. For all double bosses, I recommend having Haki enabled. So for Mera double boss, you're going to use your ult, and you're gonna block their Fireflies and Fire Fist. Use your Fireflies and Fire Fist. Use Flame Flight, and then use Flame Pillar. Alright, so for double Hie, I actually started recording late. That's why I didn't do my ult immediately. But what you normally would do is you would use your ult, then you would use Flame Flight, then use Fireflies, and then go in for Flame Pillar when they both use their Ice Bird. If that doesn't finish them off, you might have to do a couple more Fireflies and Hikens, but that's the only difference. Alright, so for double Pika, what I do is I use my ult, and then I wait for Mirror Kick and Light Kick, and then I stay close enough for them to use their Light Sword, and use Fire Flight, and while they're doing their ult, I use Fireflies, then go in for a Flame Pillar. Now if you don't do enough damage with a Flame Pillar, you can just finish them off with Hiken. Alright, so for Pika Hie, what I do is I use my ult, I dodge the Ice Bird, and here I block, but you're supposed to dodge it, and dodge the Mirror Kick as well, block the Light Kick, wait for him to use Light Sword, then use Flyer Fight, and wait for the Pika Boss to finish. While the Pika Boss is going, Hie might throw out an Ice Bird, that's fine, and then go under the Pika Boss, use Flame Pillar, and then just focus the Hie Boss after that. Alright, so for Mera Pika, what I do is I use my ult, and then I tank the Fireflies in order to dodge the Mirror Kick. I block the Light Kick, wait for its Light Sword, and then Tech Eye to block both the Mera ultimate and the Pika ultimate. Once they're both done, I run in for a Flame Pillar for the Pika Boss, and then I just finish off the Mera Boss. And lastly is going to be Mera Hie. So what I do is I use my ult, and then I use Flame Flight, and then I use Hiken to blast away the Mera Boss from the Hie Boss so that he can't freeze me. And then I keep my distance from the Hie Boss so he can use a Stomp, and then I Flame Pillar the Mera Boss, and then I just finish off the Hie Boss. But that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully that helped you more than before. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.